Hello everyone, welcome to Sports Khabri and Arun Foot. I'm Rahul, with me is Arnava. We'll have Hiren joining in just a bit. Um, Very interesting game between Punjab and Jamshedpur. Me myself saying absolute domination. I actually think not quite. I thought it was very intriguing because Punjab had their chances. They had a penalty miss, had a few chances which they could have done much better from. They had a goal chopped off for offside, which again I thought was very close on the replay. So yeah, it was an interesting game. Of course, in the end, 4-0, I think flatters Jamshedpur. They two quality free kicks though from Manzoor. I don't think you can take anything away from him. And when it comes to the other two goals, I thought they were avoidable from a Punjab perspective. So I don't know, where do you stand on this game?
I just tweeted about it. The result does not really reflect the game. And
Yeah.
to me, Jamshedpur won 4-0, but it was one of those games. It reminded me a little of the old Khalid Jamil's Mumbai FC in the I League days. Where you grind it out and allow chances to the opposition, but the opposition is unable to score, and then you win 1-0 or 2-0 or 2-1 or something. So to me, again, the last two goals were exceptional. But I think Punjab FC have only themselves to blame for this because they had great chances in the first half. You mentioned Luka Machin with the penalty. Wilmer Jordan had so many opportunities, great build-ups, great play. But yeah, football at the end of the day is very simple. You have to score goals. And if you don't score goals, you lose matches.
Yeah, Hiren, very interesting game. I think I don't know how exactly to put it, but it was a very weird game. Did you think it was a 4-0 victory in the end? That I mean, Jamshedpur deserved a 4-0 victory in the end, or do you think it was more evenly matched? At some point, I did think Punjab were the more threatening side. I mean, before those three goals came in. So, what do you make of it?
First of all, hello to everyone, and completely agree. If you say scoreline, then I think someone think that this match you can see completely one-sided, but that not will be the case. That was not the case. I think the way Punjab you can say played, it was a equally game, but I think as Sir mentioned rightly, themselves to blame. If you don't convert those chances, then you create a how many chances doesn't matter. In the first half, they should have easily 2-3 nil ahead, but they didn't able to score those chances. And today is TP Rennes day. You have to you can say mention it because I think the saves he made in the first half, that was absolutely brilliant. And I think interesting game in a sense that both the teams played attacking. No one sits back, and that was the you can say good to see. And Jamshedpur you can see converted their half chances also, so that's their you can say positive. And Jeremy Manzaro, yesterday we mentioned who will be the key player. So everyone has mentioned Jeremy Manzaro from Jamshedpur FC, and today those two goals, incredible to see those two free kicks goals. I think great to see, and Punjab FC themselves to blame. I think they done everything right, but the most important thing in football, the finishing, they didn't able to do it, and that's why they lose with the at the home with the 4-0 score line. So that's really disappointing from them because their momentum is also, I think, after this big loss will be affected without a doubt. They're coming up with the two back-to-back wins. So let's see how they are going to bounce back. And great win for Jamshedpur to get into the sixth position. And now they are, I think, good to go. I think they will now put up a really, you can say, pressure on the Northeast, Bengaluru, and East Bengal to, you can say, get a result.
Yeah, Hiren mentioned Manzoro there. I think it was his shot that Ravi Kumar spilled for the second goal as well. So, yeah, very influential in the game, like always, is Jeremy Manzoro. But Anova, coming to Punjab, first goal, I think it was Lungdev who
Yeah.
sort of his header come. I'm not too sure whether the ball was
No,
there.
no. He was trying to close his legs, and he was. I mean, and the ball
Legs,
went through the
yes.
legs, right? So it looks
Okay,
Let
very
me
okay.
go,
clear.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
if he just again, and that's the difficulty in that kind of a situation. You have a thought of what you want to do,
yeah.
and in that you can't get your legs together again, right? Your legs are like this, and the ball goes through there. That was the real problem, and otherwise Chimachukwu doesn't get the chance. The second one is a mistake by Ravi Kumar, and I've said this earlier.
Absolutely.
I feel that Ravi Kumar at the moment is not an ISL goalkeeper. right?
Yeah.
But the point is for them is they can't put in Kiran Chemchong back in goal because he's a foreigner. Yeah, that's a bit of a problem, right? So the goalkeeper cost them because I think again Jeremy Manzoro's both the free kicks were exceptional, but a good goalkeeper maybe catches one of the two. You know,
Exactly.
I think a good goalkeeper doesn't let in both. And if you can't finish off your chances, I don't know how many. I mean, Wilmer Jordan could have scored more goals than anybody else, you know, today. And he has been clinical, right? He has been clinical in the matches before, and then these small little things, you know, it's like this, and suddenly it turns out to be a 4-0 for Jamshedpur. Very very interesting game, and but I think that the interesting part was even in 90 plus minute, Wilmer Jordan was still trying to score, right? So I think it will be a bit of an issue for them to regroup, but I think Stikos will have a conversation with the team and the players, and I think they can try get back to that momentum, because at the end of the day, yes, it is now 11 goals that they are worse than Jamshedpur FC, but it's still just 4 points. 3 points, sorry, not even 4, 3 points to Jamshedpur.
Yeah.
So the race
This
for
match.
top 6, yeah.
And this match reminds me of Mumbai versus Jamshedpur recently, the match played. I think Mumbai City created a lot of chances in that match, but second half, the Jamshedpur scored that 3 goals. Similar kind of situation happens here also. In the first half,
And that's
looks like
that's
Punjab
the interesting part, na? Hiren, that's the interesting thing to me with
Mhm.
Jamshedpur. In the first half, under Scott Cooper, they had a lot of matches where you say, especially the Mohun Bagan match, which they lost 3-2, where I would have said, you know, this is a match that they should have won. Now they've got a lot of matches where you could have said, even today, the 4-0, they could have lost this match.
They could have lost this game, yeah.
This is an interesting one. So football sometimes is so close with these results that if the results go your way, you have the momentum, things work out for you. And you see that Scott Cooper laid a certain basis to work with this team. You know, they are suddenly getting the goals which they were not getting, and they've used the Super Cup well. You know, while you know, my counter example would be the Kerala Blasters, who did not take the Super Cup seriously, and you see in what kind of a situation they are. We'll speak later about the match tomorrow. This is a thing. And yes, TP Ranesh. Uday is mentioning TP Ranesh, but TP Ranesh is another one of those. Huh? On his day, like today, he's exceptional. He's world class. On another day, you'll think, "Bhai, please go home. Don't stand in goal." That is the problem with these players, right? One day exceptional, the next day inconsistency.
Yep.
Guys, one player I want to Rahul, sorry to interrupt. One player I want to mention is Imran Khan's performance in this Jamshedpur side. I think from Northeast United last season, in the second half, particularly last season, he impressed. I think he put up a really good individual performance for Northeast United. And this season, I think धीरे-धीरे जिस तरह से वो setup हुए हैं, and particularly in this second half, I think he has been very influential in the midfield of Jamshedpur FC. To be honest, as an Indian player, I would say. What do you say about the Imran Khan? I think he's been very very good in the last couple of matches.
Again, we come about the topic of inconsistencies, right? I mean, he was given a chance, multiple chances in the first half of the season. It didn't click. Now suddenly it's making click. And that's one thing also I see with a lot of players. When the team is working, when things are going good, they perform, right? A Jeremy Manzoro, a Chima Chukwu, they will pull the whole team up. You know, El Sino, you know, again, we're talking about the attacking players. El Sino was very, very important because he did not give, again, Punjab FC created a lot of chances.
He is the leader, sir.
But Mehdi Talal was not really as influential as Mehdi Talal has been. Yeah. So yeah, let's wait and see.
For me, sir, El Sino is the backbone of this team. I think he's the leader from the starting of the season. फर्स्ट हाफ ऑफ द सीजन में चाहे भले रिजल्ट नहीं आ रहे थे, बट जिस तरह की परफॉर्मेंस एंड जिस तरह से बैकलाइन आई थिंक जमशेदपुर एफसी की वर्क कर रही थी, आई थिंक उसमें काफी ज्यादा उसका इंपॉर्टेंट रोल रहा है. सो कंप्लीटली एग्री, बट ही शिफ्ट मोमेंटम ऑफ द मैच टू जेएफसी. ओके, अनदर खाली जमीन मास्टरक्लास आफ्टर मुंबई एफसी, आइजोल एंड एनयूएफसी. आई थिंक डेफिनेटली जमशेदपुर एफसी को उन्होंने डेफिनेटली एक रीजोइनेट आफ्टर द सुपर कप कर दिया है. एंड लेट्स सी कब तक ये मोमेंटम जमशेदपुर एफसी का बना रहता है. अदर देन दैट आई थिंक सर जमशेदपुर की जो बैकलाइन है एलसीनियो की तो बात करते ही है, बट प्रतीक चौधरी एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट आर आल्सो स्टेपिंग अप. आई थिंक मोहम्मद उवैस एंड एवरीवन. आई थिंक दैट्स आल्सो क्वाइट यू कैन सी की इंप्रेसिंग टू सी. जनरली उन प्लेयरों की बात ज्यादा इंडियन प्लेयरों की इन प्लेयरों की बात होती नहीं है.
See, I mean, again, the match is to me very, very close, right? And if Punjab use their chances, we'll have a totally different discussion. And these are the small
Yes, sir.
margins in football, right? A 4-0 looks a very, very clear result, but Khalid knows Khalid will not get carried away by a 4-0. And that's the thing. He will not get carried away. He will work hard with the players. He'll try to get another result in the next match. Yeah, and that's the most important thing. But if you have a Manzoro and a Chimachukwu in the form that they and Ilzinho, especially these three of the foreigners, and you still have Stefanovic, you have Javi Severio out there, you have options, and that makes them so dangerous, I think, this season.
बट सर एक चीज आपने नोटिस की, अभी भी पंजाब एफसी चाहे भले ही ये मैच हार गई हो, बट दे आर वन मैच शॉट played less than Jamshedpur. If they win next match, then still they are comes into the contention. So it's not like they lose this match and they're completely out of the picture. They are still in the race, totally in the race. So that is a quite incredible to see this. One match is making not that much difference, and one match is making that you can say a difference also. So both the things is happening same time. Once in a time, team at the six, suddenly they goes into the 9, 10, and we and someone thinks that they might be out of the race, but they are not. I think this is a quite an interesting season.
It's a crazy one at the moment, because it leaves the opportunity open to everyone. And again, as big as this win is, if they lose the next match, then suddenly this win, again, the goal difference, yes, it's a bonus, but for them, it's an interesting scenario. So for me, yeah, let tomorrow's game come, and then we'll see what happens tomorrow, because I think we're in a very, very interesting scenario where all these games, every game has its own subplot. So therefore it makes it interesting. And as Uday says correctly, yes, East Bengal and Chennai also have fewer matches. So and again, it's a very interesting scenario which is developing at the top and in the lower half. If we look at yesterday's game, right, a lot of people would have said, "Oh, Goa." And therefore, yeah, that's an important one. Again, to say Jamshedpur scored a 4-0 away win at Punjab FC. Big result, but again, the match was much closer than the result said.
Today's game was beautiful, loved it. Yes, it was a, you can say, more attacking game, so that's why I think pleasing to the eyes rather than you can say one team sitting back and just going defend. So that's the quite interesting part of this match, definitely. Let's move on to this the important discussion which needs to be discussed is regarding the dropping of ISL attendance. Suddenly but it's not like one or two clubs matches or you can say venues has been dropped attendance everywhere. We have seen Kerala Blaster. No doubt there is a renovation work is going on, but still there is a substantial you can say drop in the attendance. We have seen in other matches also. I mean in Bangalore FC, Punjab FC match, Bangalore versus Punjab, I think 900 or something people are attended only. So according to you, sir, what are the reason which impacted the attendance of ISL in this stage?
I actually asked that question today morning on Twitter. I was a little surprised that I got actually those many interactions. Let me just check. I mean, it was a bizarre number of over 10,000 people have seen it, 194 likes, 11 reposts, retweets, and 62 comments on it. So it's a topic which the fans want to speak about. I was reading. I read every one of the comments, and the most common seem to be across India. So it's again, I think the problems are not the same everywhere, but it seems to be that some would say that the timing, the scheduling was not announced in advance. Ticket pricing seems to be a problem. how do I get back home, Indian national team failure, the clubs are not spending on marketing, quality issues generally about the league. So all these issues are being thrown together, and it makes it very difficult, because I think we'll have another conversation most probably towards the end of March and in April, when the IPL starts. Where does Indian football stand? First time the test ISL will be played, finishing off its final leg while the IPL is on. Will India be interested at all? And that's an interesting test to me. I think that's a test which has not been done in 9 seasons. It's the first time, and to me is and all these points are points, but there are some points where I personally say, I think if someone has said that you don't know when and where a match is happening, in today's world of mobile phones, with the ISL having its own app, they have a website, they've got everything. There are other sporting portals which have all the schedules in there. To me, that is not a reason. I mean, the ISL has also changed the kickoff timings from 8 o'clock to 7:30. They do realize things, they've changed things. But if I again go back, in year one, we had an insane marketing spend on the ISL, an insane spend at we ourselves when I was working in Mumbai City. And but that is not going to be replicated, because the outcome and the results often, or some would say, an offline advertising campaign. I'd like to see how many people would then just turn up because people are putting up hoardings and brandings across city, on, let's say, on buses, on metros. I have my doubts. So the clubs have to try and create a fan base. And to me I feel it's a problem in understanding what club football is about. Because the same people will tell you, I'll do anything. I'll wake up at any time to watch a match of an EPL team or of a La Liga team or Champions League and whatever. But you don't give the same commitment to Indian football. About the quality, no doubt. Let's not get into that conversation, because there is no comparison of quality of European football and Indian football. We've seen it even at the Asian Cup, and that's another fact. But I feel that the unconditional support, and this is all the comments that I've seen, you're creating reasons of why you would not want to turn up.
But I think, sir, the common reason or the biggest reason, I think fans are also mentioning, and after the Asian Cup, काफी सारे लोगों ने मैंने भी comment में देखा है कि the national team's performance, मतलब I completely agree with you on that thing कि जो एक culture होना चाहिए, but India में I think fan base का वो नहीं है कि जहाँ पे वो क्लब्स को इस तरह से अभी सपोर्ट करेंगे. आई थिंक नेशनल टीम का जो परफॉर्मेंस में एशियन कप में जो परफॉर्मेंस आया है, आफ्टर दैट आई थिंक लॉट्स ऑफ पीपल पर्सनली मेरे को कमेंट, मेरे वीडियोस में काफी लोगों ने कमेंट किया है कि अब इंडियन फुटबॉल देखने का मन नहीं करता, अब ये आईएसएल छोड़ देंगे, ये सारी चीजें. तो आई थिंक that is one of the, I think, main reason for the dropout for this attendance also. I think जो आपने सारे पॉइंट बोले वो तो है ही है.
But my counter question would be, a while back people were saying, you know what, I don't care watching the Indian national team. No, I care about. There are people who say I care about club football. Where are they then? I mean, we're giving people reasons not to watch Indian football. If we're talking about quality, yes, we can discuss it. But give me again. I don't see even a valid reason of saying that tickets are costly. So people are willing to spend 200, 300, 500 bucks on going to the cinema, but feel that spending 200, 300 rupees for a football match ticket, it's not going to happen.
Tickets is, I don't think so. Tickets is the reason, to be honest. I think tickets is not the reason.
But see,
guys,
the reason.
I just want to chip in.
Please,
I think ticketing, at least in Bangalore, is slightly expensive. It's almost slightly expensive again, in the sense that it's not 200 to 300. It's to get into the West Block, you need to pay about 900 today, which was not the case many years ago. Where when I started coming to BFC, it was 200 bucks, 250 bucks, I-League days. And then even when we got into the ISL, I remember the tickets were standardized. If I'm not wrong, it was around 490 or something like that, 490 or 500 bucks for West Block. And then now it's changed again. So But again, I
But
mean, if
but
you are a football fan, there's no excuse.
But
And
but
if you can
Rahul, the
afford it.
minimum was I think I have checked with the all of the clubs. I think minimum at every ISL clubs matches is I think 150 to 200. So that's the you can
Correct.
say the
So
payable
yeah,
amount. So I don't
yeah,
think
yeah,
so that
100%.
that's the issue.
But I think Hiren, the
If
problem
if
comes.
you want to see from a certain
Yeah,
stand, then definitely you have to pay extra. वो तो हमने हर किसी जगह पे देखा है. But I think the minimum amount is I think 150 to 200 bucks. So that's the easily I think anyone can मतलब whoever wants to go I think again ticket is not the issue for me to be honest
no,
for
I
these
completely
total
agree.
India
But
members.
again, the issue I think here is, at least for I'm speaking again from a BSc perspective. If I am someone who has been sitting in the West Block for so many years and I'm getting that experience, I don't think I would want to say sit in the North Stand, where it's not the same atmosphere. It's not, you don't have the sort of the hardcore fans around you, and you don't have the guys who come in week, who go every week, and it's a slightly different experience. But again, I still don't think it's an excuse to say I'm not coming around in football. But I think it's an observation that I've made, that the ticketing prices have gone up over the years here in Bangalore at least, and it could be a reason. I'm just
And
repeating.
I
Sir,
think I take Shaggy's comment, if you see that, where that's the perfect one, right? The league has realized
Yeah,
it, and they've reduced it. And I think the fence sitters is, I think a lot of people are just giving excuses, and
maybe, for sure.
the reality is, that's a sad part, that we still have not been created that mass fan following, that if you say, TK, even if XYZ says, you know what, don't want to go today, that you still get 10-15,000 going to a game anywhere. We are not in that
sir,
inflection point which you have in other places around the world, even in smaller football countries. I think the Japan example was very good, that that their school league playoffs and finals are witnessed by 40-50,000 people, where they go in large stadiums.
Yeah,
sir.
And again, watching football as a culture, lower division. I
yeah,
know, for
absolutely.
example, people like Shaggy go and watch a lot of football, even not men's, even women's football. I've done that in the past as well, when I've been to Kolkata and Delhi or other places, just to watch football games for the sake of watching a football game.
Yeah, yeah.
That is something that we need to get to.
सर एक एक पॉइंट मैं यहाँ पे ऐड करना चाहूंगा. आप मेरे को बताना कितना सही है कि नहीं. मैंने जो एक्सपीरियंस किया है, आपने जो बोला कि आप जैसे है या फिर मैं या फिर सेकी भाई की जैसे वो मतलब एक स्पोर्ट एंथुसियास्टिक है कि कोई भी मैच चल रहा है फुटबॉल का हम तो देखेंगे ही, वो वाली सिचुएशन है. बट उसका पोर्शन काफी कम है. बट आपने जो बोला ना कि जो यूरोपियन फैन बेस भी है, आई थिंक मेरे को क्या लगता है कि जनरली जो इंडियन फुटबॉल फैन बेस है, चाहे वो यूरोपियन देखते हैं, क्योंकि वो वहां पे उतनी हायर क्वालिटी देखते हैं, तो आई डोंट थिंक सो कि वो सडनली मेरे को लगता है कि इस तरह के जो मैचेस है या फिर क्वालिटी में उसमें शिफ्ट करेंगे. तो आई थिंक व्हाट आई फील कि जो आईएसएल क्लब्स को देखना चाहिए कि उनको जब तक वो एक इंडियन फुटबॉल ऑडियंस नहीं क्रिएट कर पाएंगे, तब तक आई थिंक ये डिफिकल्टी रहेगा कि वो यहाँ पे क्या बोलते हैं कि फैन को उस तरह से अट्रैक्ट कर पाएंगे. जैसे फॉर एग्जाम्पल केरला ब्लास्टर है कि केरला ब्लास्टर का फैन बेस केरला ब्लास्टर के प्रति ज्यादा क्या बोलते हैं कि कमिटेड है टू रादर देन यू कैन से कि यूरोपियन आई वुड से क्लब्स. सो आई थिंक जब तक दूसरे क्लब वो नहीं क्रिएट कर पाएंगे, तब तक आई थिंक वो यूरोपियन फैन बेस को इंडियन फैन बेस में कन्वर्ट करना आई थिंक इज मोर डिफिकल्ट रादर देन यू कैन से कि क्रिएट a new fan base. What do you say about that?
But you know what the biggest problem is? This is all broadcasting viewers. If you go,
Yes.
for example, to watch live matches in Europe, and Roshan most probably can second me on saying that, you would not watch any other league than the Bundesliga if it comes to atmosphere.
Bundesliga.
You will never watch the Premier
Yeah,
League,
yeah,
not even
yeah.
the big teams. You will not watch La Liga. I remember when Frankfurt went in the Europa League to Barcelona,
Barcelona.
Spanish friends said, what are these guys doing over here? I said, why? It felt like we are in an away match.
Away match,
So the
yes,
point
yes.
is, you have a perception, again, about let's not talk about the quality, but when we talk about atmosphere, the atmosphere in a live stadium, sorry, I've seen it, Rahul, your club, Arsenal, not convinced. I've seen it at City,
Yeah,
at United, at Liverpool, at Chelsea. I'm not convinced, right? I'd rather go, yes, right, Roshan, Union Berlin, another one. So the reality is that there's a certain perception. I mean, look at the reception that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got in India, right?
India, exactly.
Incredible, right? But this is not for Mumbai, not a new phenomenon. We had the same situation in the first season. We had a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock arrival of Freddie Ljungberg and Nicholas Anelka. There were hundreds of people at the airport. But the point here is that something has been lost in this 10 years, sadly. Right?
Yeah.
People were willing to go. There was a lot of tamashas. There were so-called superstars. You know, the first 2 seasons you had so-called superstars, but they didn't you know, they couldn't perform.
But sir, in India, this culture of superstar is everywhere. In cricket also, people don't go for every, you can see, cricketing match. They want to see their stars. So this is a general issue in the Indian, you can see, sporting fan base culture. They only like to see superstar. They don't want to see a sport. If you see, I recently I listening to one of the cricket podcasts. They say that if England fan is Sachin hit a boundary in England, or Virat Kohli hit a boundary in England, then their fan is applaud. But in India, our fan base is completely, for opposition player is hit a 4 or 6 hour plan, fan base is gone completely silent. So they like to see the superstar. They don't want to see a game as such, you can see on the ground. So that's the general issue in the Indian sporting fans.
I think very valid points. No? You see, what Shaggy again.
Exactly. I just want to pick up. I just want to address this. This is such an important point that Shaggy is making, and I think it's so true. Which is, you have to make it accessible to students. So when I sort of fell in love with BFC, I was in 10th grade.
That's
9th
my
grade.
point also.
And
आप जब यूरोपियन फैन बेस को, सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट राहुल, कि यूरोपियन फैन बेस को जब आप इंडियन फुटबॉल फैन बेस में कन्वर्ट करना चाहते हो, दैट्स अ डिफिकल्ट टास्क. इससे अच्छा है कि आप जो नया फैन बेस है उसको डायरेक्ट आप क्या बोलते हैं, इंडियन फुटबॉल में कन्वर्ट करो. दैट वाज would have been a much more easier task.
But again, he makes an important point, which is making it accessible, because that's what I was telling you guys. At that time, a ticket was $200 for West Block, $250. Today it's $850, $900, which students, frankly, I don't think can afford. I don't think it's within their pocket money or their budget based on people who live in my community. I don't think week in, week out, you can afford a 900 rupee ticket. But that's where your market is. I think, again, you have to sell the experience to these students. So when I remember when we started watching BFC, 11th and 12th grade, until I was in Bangalore, we literally went every weekend, my friend and I, because it was just awesome. And then it was affordable. We could go for the games and it was great. And they sold the experience. I think that you have to do to the new generation, which is sell the experience of being in a stadium, make it feel like you're going to, it's like a concert type experience. I know it's a very different thing. I'm talking about the non-football hardcores. There will be avid football fans who will go regardless, but people who are not hardcore football fans, you have to sell it to them like it's an experience, and that's where the stadium experience makes a difference. And we have to make it accessible so that these guys are like, oh yeah, you know what, that adrenaline rush was great, I'm going to go back. I love singing with the fans, I'm going to go back. Not probably to see, not because Sunil Shetty is playing or Suresh Wangdam is playing, but just because, oh wow, the fans made it great, I loved my day, I enjoyed the experience, I'll go back. I think that part of it we need to crack. Yeah, again, I don't know, just want to ask you, why is there, what leads to this sort of difference? Again, I'm not too sure about other stadiums and other grounds, how much they sell their tickets for, but this is what it is in Bangalore, and what leads to this sort of disparity?
It's much cheaper, but there is also in certain places the culture. For example, in Bengal, you have it. I know in and around Delhi, you've had it. Not only just a football phenomenon, but generally for a sporting phenomenon, that people want free tickets. And that is something which is also hurting football down the day. Again, Punjab FC, most probably, I don't know how many tickets they're handing out. How many people are actually coming, free tickets, maybe even to schools, colleges. How many people are going?
पंजाब एफसी का मेरे को समझ में नहीं आता कि हर मैच से पहले जब उसका होम मैच होता है, they announce कि from this you can see कि gate there is a limited ticket will be sold. स्टेडियम तो आपका पूरा खाली होता है, तो फिर लिमिटेड टिकट सोल्ड होगी, इसका मतलब I don't
There
understand
are
what is the
clearances of the
thing.
stadium. No? In Delhi have a lot of problems with that venue. It's not easy, and again, if you have a certain number of people, then they will open up the top tier and all that stuff. It's not. It's again,
Okay.
whoever is the fans have to also understand that. But clubs organize games, matches. It is not. It's not always easy. Raul is a BFC fan, right? I remember when I was there in the summer and I looked at the Kantirava. The Kantirava literally is falling apart. But again, I was standing next to Darren, and Darren says, "We can't do anything." Darren Caldera was standing next to us. I said, "It is not our venue. We are fighting to be allowed to play at this venue." That is the other thing, that the problems of these stadiums, because the clubs don't own their venues. You are dependent, you're dependent on government authorities being friendly to you and saying, "Are take a match." That's also the scheduling problem, right? The scheduling problem is, for example, in a Kolkata, you need to know that when Durga Puja, when Lakshmi Puja, when this or another place, let's say Diwali ho raha hai, don't do matches, right? Because the local police will not give you security. And that's the problem, right? That's the issue as well. It is not. Therefore, I always say is that blaming the FSDL, blaming AFF, blaming the clubs, yes, you can, right? But then you also need to understand, under the circumstances, that all these organizations and bodies are running the system. I think now people should understand that the old AFF, before the new people came in, were trying to run a system with all its weaknesses, right? With all its weaknesses. And running, it's not, again, the stadium is not yours. It's not like the MLS was just mentioned. In the MLS, you have to make a commitment of about $250 to $300 million to build a football-specific venue. I mean, Inter Miami, David Beckham was running nearly a decade around the place to try and find, in and around Miami, a place to build a stadium for Inter Miami. Your minimum investment into that league system is $1 billion. But what does David Beckham do? He spends a lot of money on Lionel Messi, and he's recouping that money. In India, all the clubs are losing money. Everyone is losing money. So that's why I also say, to expect things from the clubs, to expect things from FSDL is relatively easy. But on the other side, why has BFC gone up with the tickets? Rahul, why have they gone up?
Yeah,
because BFC is losing money. They're losing 20 to 25 crores a year, JSW. Parth Jindal has said it a few years ago.
I think सर द प्रॉब्लम एक चीज जो मेरे को आपने बिल्कुल फ्री टिकट्स है, वो आई थिंक वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट इशू इन इंडिया, बिकॉज आप देखिए जो फैन कल्चर है वो, मतलब चाहे मैं ऑन स्टेडियम की भी बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ, आप देखिए कि ऑफ दी स्टेडियम भी आप देखिए जो ब्रॉडकास्टिंग पे भी हम फ्री में ही देखना चाहते हैं. इफ यू सी प्रीमियर लीग, यूके फैन बेस इज पेइंग मोर मनी देन इंडियन फैन बेस फॉर टू वॉच अ प्रीमियर लीग. यूके फैन बेस इज पेइंग मोर फॉर द ब्रॉडकास्टिंग. So I think जो एक देखने के लिए, अगर आप देखिए लास्ट साफ का ही मैं एग्जांपल लेता हूँ, फाइनल था साफ.
We all pay. We in Germany pay more for the Bundesliga. The Spanish fans pay more for La Liga. The Italian fans pay more for Serie A, and the French pay more for Liga. Look at the Apple Pass in America, which have to pay. In India, to watch football abroad, it is. I jokingly tell my German friends, for me, it is cheaper to actually fly to India and watch a whole month of football, stay a whole month in India, than to actually watch football over here.
Exactly.
Right. And again, you want top class broadcast, and you don't want to pay for it. If the ISL then said, "Listen, we'll do world class broadcast, even better now. We'll have this, we'll have that, we'll have whatever."
I think sir,
will you be willing to pay 100 rupees a month? Let's say 100 rupees.
No. सर 100 रुपीज की भी बात नहीं है. आई थिंक साफ का फाइनल था, या हाँ साफ का फैन कोड पे था, एंड फाइनल की लिंक नहीं मिल रही थी, मैं वर्चुअल कर रहा था, एंड आई थिंक फाइनल का पास था फैन कोड पे, आई थिंक 10 to 15 रुपीज. हाँ, फाइनल का पास इतना ही था, एंड स्टिल देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ फैंस आस्किंग फॉर अ फ्री लिंक, क्योंकि वो क्या बोलती है, ड्यू टू द साइबर इशू उन्होंने बैन कर दी थी मोस्ट ऑफ द फ्री लिंक्स. सो fans are not ready to pay 10 or 15 rupees for a match, and they are asking कि this club has this kind of facility, this this person should be investing this kind of money. If we are not ready to, you can see, put up a 10 or 15 rupees in a Indian football, and we are asking others to put up 100 and thousands of crore, then what will you say?
Yeah,
Can you
absolutely.
please put out Shayan's comment, please? Huh? You are willing to pay thousands of rupees for food, huh? And 1 rupee for football.
Football.
Yeah,
And another point is being said is weekday matches. I think around the world the topic is
Yeah.
always about the scheduling. I think it's a general topic, but the ISL has been since day one a whole week adventure. I mean, this is should, and again, East Bengal, Mohun Bagan are being mentioned. Mohun Bagan, of course, are at a form, they're getting their 30,000 on average. But even East Bengal, when they've had matches on a Saturday, has not sold out at the Salt Lake Stadium, or the capacity being allowed. Ticket printing is about 35,000, right? So the reality is,
But sir,
that's the thing. Even look
I
at
don't.
Mumbai City. You've had good fans in the first half of the season. Now, with all negative that has happened around Mumbai City, forget the Indian things. Suddenly, you have the stadium is empty, right?
But I don't understand why the East Bengal and मोहन बगान तो फिर भी चलो 30,000 है, उसका भी ज्यादा ही होना चाहिए. But 30,000 उनका भी चलो आ रहा है more than 20,000. But why not East Bengal fans are turning up for the, you can say, key matches?
Because I think there is this expectation that East Bengal should be in the title race from the fans.
Then
You saw what happened.
I think
You saw what happened in Kolkata after they won the Super Cup, right?
नहीं. Then
But
they
that
themselves.
is again become unrealistic expectations. No, what are fans expect? That's why I always say that when a team is struggling, you need to support your team even more. And it's not an East Bengal.
Sir,
Even Rahul, I can say that to Rahul about BFC. BFC should be getting about
नहीं
10K people supporting BFC in the struggles that they're facing at the moment.
नहीं सर, मेरा सिंपल पॉइंट है फिर देन कि फिर तो यूरोप में काफी सारे इतने क्लब है, आप प्रीमियर लीग में, बुंदेसलीगा में, कि वो तो कभी टाइटल नहीं जीतते, फिर भी उनके स्टेडियम तो हर वक्त यहाँ पे उनके होम मैचेस में यहाँ पे काफी ज्यादा फैंस आते हैं.
My favorite example is Schalke 04, who are
Crazy.
crazy. They are the third biggest club per se in Germany after Bayern and Dortmund. They're struggling to stay in the second tier, and they still get 61,000 people coming in week out. And if I tomorrow say, listen, I want to go for the weekend match to Schalke, I will not get a ticket, even with connections, right? We need to, that is where our fan culture needs to go. Again, I go back to the Japanese. Someone mentioned, we now follow Japanese football. Japan, they go and watch everything. The Japanese go. Champions League, they're now even traveling across Asia to watch the game. They turn up anywhere in the world. That is the commitment that I would like to see.
But sir,
again, maybe I'm expecting too much.
नहीं, मैंने पॉइंट इसलिए रेज किया क्योंकि ये जो सो कॉल्ड बोलते हैं ना कि ट्रेडिशनल हम फैन बेस है, मोहन बगान, ईस्ट बंगाल और वो सब, उनका टर्न अप ना होना, आई थिंक दैट्स द बिगेस्ट, यू कैन से कि डिसअपॉइंटिंग थिंग. अब आप देखिए, आई थिंक केरला ब्लास्टर्स इज द ओनली क्लब की जो मतलब बोल सकते हैं अभी ट्रू कि भाई हम फैन बेस है. बाकी क्लब्स को बोलना कि हम ट्रेडिशनली फैन बेस है, तो आई थिंक देन तो फिर आपका क्लब कभी क्या बोलते कि 10 साल में एक आध बार टाइटल जीतेगा, तो तभी आप सपोर्ट करोगे, बाकी टाइम्स पे आपको मैच नहीं देखोगे. So that's the kind of a disappointing thing from the both the clubs. I would not say it's just East Bengal, but for Mohun Bagan this season I have expected that they will, you can say, give a tough fight in terms of the attendance to Kerala Blaster, but they were also nowhere near to the, you can say, in that sense.
No, I think Kolkata as an issue at the moment. I think they are releasing about 30,000 tickets for matches, right? So that's a reality. Again, as I say, there are certain realities when you are working at venues which are not yours. You are not in charge of your own destiny. That is one problem. The other issue I see at the moment, which is big, I take another example, FC Goa. FC Goa is having one of their best ever seasons in the ISL, and the Fatorda is not full, not even close to full.
Full, yes. Yesterday was a disappointing thing. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So these are also there. And FC Goa actually did connect to the fans in the first 3 years, right? That stadium was relatively full. It was really, 18, 19,000 used to come. And this is a connect which a Dempo, a Salgaonkar, a Churchill Brothers, a Sporting Club de Goa, all these clubs sadly have never been able to do. I've been to a match, Salgaonkar versus BFC, 9 paying fans. 9. I-League.
Anirup Mandal bhai, figure is wrong bhai. The 35k, because if it 30,000 is the ticket have been sold, then how can a 35k is the average attendance? There are
Exactly.
a couple of matches where attendance
No,
is less than
it can be
20,000
maybe
also.
maybe it's the derby which is calculated in, but even someone said that there were 60,000 people at the Salt Lake Stadium. There were not 60,000 people at the Salt Lake Stadium. You can
60,000.
see the stadium, you know. So to me is again, I think Mohun Bagan could get a little bit more. I think Mohun Bagan could go towards 40,000 if they were being allowed to do it. But again, there is the issues with the Binan Nogor municipality and with the government and police and all those kind of things, you know. So therefore, Mohun Bagan is fine. Mohun Bagan has its tendencies. But to me, is East Bengal is a little worrying. But I hope that, you know, and again, that's going to be the point. But other teams, again, BFC, which was, I would have said, over the last 10 11 years, one of the positive elements, you know, that they
But sir,
have done a lot
फिर
of
ये
things right, but it's even BFC has dramatically dipped in the recent past.
बट मोहन बगान का तो चलो फिर भी अच्छा है, जैसे आपने बोला कि देवर 25-30 के बीच में। बट दिस ये ईस्ट बंगाल के कुछ फैन हमने देखे सैन भाई, जैसे कि जो मतलब यूट्यूब पे तो काफी बड़ी बड़ी और सोशल मीडिया पे बड़ी बड़ी बातें करते हैं। तो ये लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? फूड भी सही से नहीं कर पा रहे, बेच रहे, और ये भी नहीं कर पा रहे, तो ये कर क्या रहे हैं ईस्ट बंगाल के फैन?
तुम्हारा भाई को पूछो, तुम्हारा भाई को पूछो। No, jokes apart, I think it's again, you know, I see the point on with you saying there's zero advertisement with regard to the matches, but the point is, if a club does the advertising, and the advertising these days is not cheap, right? It is not cheap for the club to do it. You know, will you recoup the costs? And the clubs are overspending on the players. Your biggest problem is your marketing spend is non-existent these days, right? And yes, good example with Canning and all of that. The example, the Cape football is a huge thing. Why? Because it's local. It's in a locality. It's in a para. People talk about it and say, are you going to the match? You know? And then you suddenly have these CFL players who play professional football turning up, playing, even the foreigners who played in India. People are interested in that. And and it's a sad scenario, because again, I'm not going to discuss the quality of football, but from a table perspective, this is the most interesting season ever of the ISL. You have 5 teams fighting for the title, and you've got 6 teams fighting for this last spot. This is the most interesting constellation you can have, and most of the clubs are struggling with fans. That is a sad part.
Yep.
See, the grassroots thing is a nice one to talk about. Again, I said that 10 years ago, nobody wanted to listen, because I said, if the quality of football on the field is good, then the fans will automatically come. But even if you do the right things today in grassroots, the result will be visible in 10, 15, not even 10, in 15 years most probably. So we need, this is the biggest problem that Indian football today faces. We need short, mid and long-term solutions. Grassroots are the most important thing about what we need to do. But it's a long-term solution.
एक जो राहुल ने एक्सपीरियंस की भी बात की थी, वो भी आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं अब ज्यादा मतलब if you see the middle class or upper middle class, they want to see that thing. I think जो लोअर मिडिल क्लास और बाकी लोग है, आई थिंक वो तो मतलब कैसा भी एक्सपीरियंस स्टेडियम में होगा तो चलेगा. बट इफ यू सी इन यूरोप, रिसेंटली आई एम सीइंग, आई वाज वाचिंग द एथलेटिक पॉडकास्ट where they talk about 10 years ago, if you want to build a stadium in Premier League, just like the Brighton made, you have a relatively easy, you can say ki much less cost. But if now the Chelsea or you can say ki Manchester United want to build a new stadium, then the more you can say ki the spending is on the experience of the fans, just like the Spurs has made, you can say ki all of that thing regarding the fan experience. So I think वो भी कहीं ना कहीं थोड़ा सा मेरे को लगता है कि कुछ स्टेडियम में, आई थिंक जैसे प्रीमियम, जैसे राहुल ने बोला कि 900 मेरे को पे करने पड़ रहे फॉर दी वेस्ट ब्लू stand. So I think this kind of experience also some of the, you can say, fan base want to see. but in not that quality, but I think still the better experience.
Yeah, yeah. No,
Because
I mean,
I
when I
have
say
seen some of the stadiums condition, they are you can say you can't call it ISL level stadium in any sense in terms of the quality wise, not on the pitch but the stand and everything.
yeah, and again, like, I just to be clear, when I say sell an experience, you don't even have to have. I'm not saying you should have the best guys selling. You don't even need like whatever, I don't know, and some Pizza Huts or your McDonald's and selling.
Tosa idli.
You don't even need all that. You don't even. It's just the experience of watching a football game, which is that
Uh,
excitement and that rush, and you've got fans around you singing, like cheering loudly, and that's the thing. Something that football has that no other sport has, and I think that's so
hmm.
unique to our sport, which is that the culture of singing and just being there for every moment. And you don't even realize, to be honest, when I watch an ISL game on TV, I can see the difference in quality. But when I watch a game in the stadium, it feels like time has just passed, and it's over before you know it. So it's very different. I think this experience, if you can somehow sell it to people, it'll do great for us. I mean, I just hope that I know this is going to happen, because a lot of people are going to watch BFC Blasters on March 2nd, and then we'll have good. They'll be like, oh wow, 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 and then they'll come for the next couple of games, and then we'll stop again. So it's a cycle that we always have. Last year, same thing happened. It was towards the end of the season that BFC played Blasters, and then you had good run of games. Fans are there. I think this is going to happen this time as well, and then yeah.
सर आपने जो शेड्यूलिंग की बात की थी उसमें मैं जानना चाहता हूँ कि क्या हम नेक्स्ट सीजन से मतलब आपने जो बोला कि आईएसएल इज ऑल अबाउट द होल वीकेंड एक्सपीरियंस बट इफ यू सी नाउ द यू कैन से कि सर्विस क्लास इन इंडिया इज आल्सो इंक्रीजिंग एंड the way things are going I think it is not to be better to you can say ki, schedule the matches on Friday, Saturday and Sunday or maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
How
Sunday
will that
rather than
happen with the broadcaster?
ब्रॉडकास्टर इज अभी अभी जियो सिनेमा अब तो आप आईएसएल आईपीएल के साथ भी मैच कराने लगे हो सो व्हाट विल बी द इशू नाउ
No. But the broadcasting is your biggest issue, na? Why does, for example, the Premier League have a 12:30 kickoff? Because they want to reach East Asia. Huh? Bundesliga playing on Sunday, that used to be reserved in Germany for amateur football. Lower level clubs are not happy about it. No? This broadcasting, the broadcaster is involved in that. You will, again, as a Friday, Saturday fixture, will it work? That's the first question. No? You've got so many matches. Will it work? Do we have enough weekends to play a weekend-only system? You have travel involved. All of that. It is not so easy. Again, India, in certain things, will not be able to replicate the rest of the world. Right? Yeah. That is something which needs to be understood. I understand all of these problems.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think,
and the point is, you need money to spend. Again, corporate entry, if I like it or not, if we didn't have corporate entries, we would not have BFC. Best example. Right?
Yeah.
Just to say, listen, I have an academy. No one has this. First of all, no one has a stadium. You know, do I have a fan base? Again, tell me how many clubs, even at the lower level, actually have a real fan base who are playing, you know, with clubs, even with history. What kind of a fan base do they have? So all of the facts that we throw into one whole big thing, you know, which are normal for a lot of clubs around the world, is non-existent for our football. Right? People have been telling me about Shillong Lajong, which is brilliant to see this season because they've gone to the small SSA stadium. They no longer go to the Nehru Stadium. But earlier, before they got relegated, people were not coming to the games. Yeah. And to me, that's a problem. That's a huge problem to throw all of it in. You know, even in ISL, even though they can't play anywhere at the Lamwal, which is in the city. The Rajiv Gandhi is a little further out of the city. Huge stadium. That really fills up for Aizawl. And the reality is that I think we need to talk about basics. I think the example is with the water. I find a very interesting thing is nowhere in the world you're allowed to take water into a stadium. But whoever is organizing the match, they need to be able to provide you water at the cheapest possible price. Let's say if a bottle costs 10 rupees, it should be costing 10 rupees inside a stadium. You shouldn't be charging them 20 or 25. But if you're thinking elsewhere in the world, you are allowed to go with a bag into a stadium. No one goes with a bag to a stadium.
Yeah.
Right. So these are the kind of things where I say, guys, no, this does not work. You know? And again, the clubs need to do stuff. Surely they need to do things. But again, if you don't have any marketing spend, which you don't have, again, what is your marketing spend? A little bit of social media here, a little bit of social media there. That's your de facto marketing spend, because you have a media team. So you have someone or the other who's doing videos or graphics or this and that. And then again, I see ISL teams, I-League teams, they're not even maintaining their medias and their social medias these days. Because you have the people like we had the other day, Tanay, writing about what his feeling at the moment is.
Yeah,
it's when you work in Indian football, it is even I can say this with a long time of experience. It is even tougher than when you are whatever it is. What is a DSLR?
It's a camera.
Camera.
Yeah, but
it's
why are you not allowed with the camera? I mean, camera you're allowed to take. I'm talking about bags and stuff. Again, bags, food, this, that, everything. Nowhere in the world you're allowed to take that. I know certain stadiums also they ask you if you're taking even an extension cord for your mobile or something. They don't normally, that can be a problem. I mean, I've seen it in a few stadiums in Europe. So that's the thing. I think there are certain things that the clubs can try and do, but again, the facility is not theirs. That's the biggest problem. That if you ask, let's say East Bengal or Mohun Bagan work with an agency and say, listen, just make the stadium clean. I know the Salt Lake Stadium has this huge issue that there's a lot of dust in Kolkata, right? So it is always an issue. They could get it cleaned. Let's say the day before they get it cleaned. The stadium is then not locked up. Right? So again, Salt Lake Stadium, Salt Lake Stadium has its own problem. The Bidhannagar police have been following since the 2017 FIFA World Cup, Under-17 World Cup, the rules and regulations that FIFA put in for them. And they've become stricter. Is it right or wrong? In my opinion, it's wrong. But they're following those rules. So again, you cannot even blame the clubs for that. East Bengal and Mohun Bagan at the start of the season were fighting with the government to get a couple of metros going, at night and a few buses to the suburbs. We're talking about basics.
Yeah.
Siddharth Mishra bhai, thank you very much for super set bhai.
Good chat. Yeah, absolutely. Hey guys, I think it's the plea, I think, coming from us. If you are an Indian football fan, or if you're just a football fan, want to become a football fan, go out and support your local club. I think it's the best thing that can happen to you. I don't think there's a better feeling than supporting your local club and seeing them do well. It's the same with any local team, any sporting team that you have in the area, especially football, because just probably the best sport in the world. So,
but I think sir, ये जो attendance का issue है, ये I don't think so कि ये मान लीजिए कि कोई मुंबई सिटी है, तो I don't think so कि उनको मतलब बाकी all over the India में connect करने की जरूरत है. If they connect with the Mumbai people, then I think the issue will be solved. I think वो जो fan base create करना है वो आपके local जहाँ से आपका club based है वहीं पे करना पड़ेगा.
But that happens organically, right? I think there is this perception that the clubs do a lot for their fan bases. I think that fan bases grow organically. It is within the fan groups there are people who grow the fan culture. You know,
Yeah.
I think
fan
there were,
culture. But
again, if there were not certain people uh, 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 that you know, the West Block Blues, for example, was started by certain people. You know,
Yeah.
and you know, or you know, people like Wasim, for example, were involved at the time in doing it. If I look at, for example, at a bigger scale, I look at the Blue Pilgrims. You know, the Banjan and the guys started off. Huh? You know, but the Banjan has been an East Bengal fan, has traveled, you know, a lot extensively across Southeast Asia. So you have these people. There were certain guys I remember. Sorry, I forgot the names, who started off the Mumbai City Supporters Club in 2014, and that became um, the West Coast Brigade, right? You know, and it has to come from within. It has to grow somehow organically. You will not be able to enforce. You know, again, marketing spend to me. You know, and that's the thing. And when we, you know, it's going to be difficult, and I don't think a pin drop, it has to do anything with CFG owning Mumbai City or not. You know, I mean, even before that, it wasn't working in a big way. So all of these things, you know, are to me are constructed reasons why not someone should support. I think Mumbai has its own problems, in the sense of that Mumbai has so many options of entertainment that for a football team to fight it out is going to be difficult. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And on that front, I mean, Mumbai City in the last few years has been, you know, one of the, you know, besides most probably Mohun Bagan or ATK Mohun Bagan or ATK, whatever you want to call it, those two have been the most successful teams over the last few years. You know, and the Kerala Blasters are a positive anomaly, I would say, but even that has grown organically. Why? Because the people took ownership. The people have come in. The people travel from Malappuram to watch matches in Kochi. You know,
watching.
and again, with the government saying we will build, you know, infrastructure and all, it's great, but the, you know, but again, I would like to see it first. You know, I mean, I am waiting for, have been commitments of this and that and everything, and also this local football which is strong. You know, people talk about Kolhapur, Malappuram is the Sevens, for example, strong. Cape football, that's different than our sort of top level professional football, right? If you think that in Kolhapur you're going to base a team and it's going to work, I don't know if it's going to work. You know, and grassroots is something, Uday. Grassroots is something where you spend money. Normally, you make money with your first team. That money you spend on your grassroots, your youth football, your infrastructure. Everyone is losing money. That's another thing that people need to forget. You are asking the clubs to provide you facilities where the clubs are losing money. And if you're paying even, you know, let's say Rahul is paying $900 to BFC, how much of it is GST? How much is of other government taxes, this, that, renting? I don't know. It would be interesting to know how much actually BFC, if you're paying $900 a ticket, how much of that money is actually going to BFC?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's I think, again, it's very, I feel very complicated. It will take time, but I always say also that for Indian football to really grow, it needs the right leadership, right? These are things, all the points that you guys have mentioned are all points that need to be either addressed, or someone needs to say, you know, guys, sorry, we can't do anything about it. But there is no dialogue or communication happening about it. And I feel that is one of the bigger problems that football faces today. That's what we always try to do in our, you know, little platform, us together, you know, try and discuss things with you guys, try to enlighten you, maybe even educate sometimes. And you know, even we learn, you know, if again, I always say is that if I don't know something, maybe I learn from you guys, I learn maybe from Hiren or from Rahul, maybe from Akshata or Shayan, whoever is there, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, guys. In all of this, there is football tomorrow as well, and it's again very very important. This is going to be the sort of narrative that we're going to follow till the end of the season. Chennai versus the Blasters. Now, yeah, as tomorrow I'm going to be supporting my arch rivals. Um, But Hiren,
Which one? You've got two arch rivals, no? Tomorrow.
yeah, true. But I think Blasters are a little more right now. So yeah.
For me, Kerala Blaster will bounce back in tomorrow's match against Chennai FC. No doubt, Chennai playing at their home. Owen Coyle is there, everything is there. But at the moment, I think Kerala Blaster might win this match by 1-0, maybe 2-1 will be the scoreline. But I'm expecting they will bounce back.
Yeah, Akash also agreeing with 1-0. KFC Arnava, Kerala to win this. Are they favourites?
I was watching earlier today the pre-match press conference of Ivan Vukovanovic, and I felt he was very, very honest in regard to his assessment of the situation in and around the team and the club. And he was very, very clear that that the team currently is not settled. The Blasters have made a few changes, and it will be interesting to see how they settled in, because they've lost now 4 matches in a row. Very unusual for the Blasters. To me, also very unusual. To Ivan Vukovanovic said he's never lost 4 matches in a row as a club coach. So they are under a certain level of pressure. And to me, on the other side, Chennai are also, I don't know where Chennai stand at the moment, to be very honest. Right? Because normally Owen Coyle teams might not be playing the best kind of football, but they grind out results.
Yeah.
So this is a Southern derby tomorrow where I think both teams don't know where they stand. I think that's the challenge I think that both teams face tomorrow. Is that where do they, it's going to be interesting to see. Because for the Blasters, again, they will not fall out of the top 5. But again, if the Blasters want to be in the title race, 1 win tomorrow and they could be back.
Yeah.
And on the other side, Chennai, a win tomorrow, and they're back in the top 6 race, right? So therefore, and again, a lot of these matches have ended in draws, right, in the recent past. So the top 5 and the bottom sort of guys, I'm not sure. I would think it will somewhat end in a draw, I think.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. No, I think it's we're getting into that sort of those sort of games in the season. Important game for both these sides for very different reasons. Of course, the Blasters to keep themselves in the title race, Chennai to stay in the race for the top 6. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Like we're saying this almost every day. It's going to be a lot of fun covering the ISL in the coming weeks, because it'll get very close. It'll go down to the wire. But yeah, guys, it's going to be fun. Blasters versus Chennai, and we'll be back to cover that as well. So please do like and share these videos. Subscribe to the channels, Arun Food, Curious Ari, and Sports Khabri, and we'll be back. Good night.
Good night, guys.
Bye.